Hey everybody, Lisa Svaniak here from lifelikeyoumeanit.com, going live to talk again about some coping strategies that you can implement to help you deal with anxiety. And as always, the tips that I am trying to offer you have a roundabout theme. So we've got some of them that are direct coping strategies, kind of working on the defensive mode, right? The anxiety pops up, and then some coping strategies to actually dampen that back down. And then the others are more offensive type of, or offensive, not offensive, types of strategies that are trying to get you to shift your mindset, to shift your perspective so that overall you experience less anxiety less often. So today what I would like to talk to you about is there is all kinds of help that is out there, right? So my social media feeds, my email feeds, everything is just chock full of coronavirus, right? Everybody wants to talk about coronavirus and wants to give me tips for coronavirus, right? And I'm doing the exact same thing because there's a lot of genuine, helpful, loving, caring people out there that want to be able to give back right now, right? We want to be able to help in any way, shape, or form that we can. And so that's how I look at everything that comes into my inbox and everything that I see in my feed on Instagram and on YouTube and on Facebook and Twitter, right? So I know that for some people that this can get a little bit overwhelming. There's just so much out there. And I've heard already a bunch of people that will say things to me, like, so I've got different groups that I run on Facebook, for example, that are support groups for, different types of things. So abuse, for example, as well as wellness and whatnot. And so within these different groups, I'll have some people that will reach out and be like, yeah, I've heard all of this before, Lisa, everything that you're offering. I really appreciate your effort and whatnot, but I know I'm supposed to meditate, and I know I'm supposed to deep breathe, and I know I'm supposed to this. I know it all. And that kind of makes me giggle a little bit because on one hand, you need to be able to find what's going to work for you. Just because I'm sitting here giving you a whole bunch of ideas for what to do doesn't mean that those things are going to work. So that's not why I'm giving them, is for you to definitely go and follow everything that I'm suggesting to a T. It's more that I'm trying to inspire you to go and experiment, maybe take something that I'm suggesting and run with it, make some tweaks that work for you. So it's really interesting to me when people say, oh yeah, I know I'm supposed to be doing this. Because my question then is that why aren't you doing this? If you know this is what you're supposed to do, why aren't you doing it? Right? And people often have lots of different responses, but the overall general idea is that they know all the theory and been there, done that type of attitude, which is totally fine. Except that I caught myself doing this actually not that long ago. So there was a big event in London that I went to, and I got to meet Marie Forleo, and I got her book, Everything is Figure Outable. And when I got her book, I was getting it more because I was meeting one of my, idols and one of my mentors. And I really wanted just to have her book and then have her signature and be able to, remember meeting Marie Forleo. And I remember I got the book home and I was like, hey, I don't need to read it though, because like we're on the same page. I teach all the same things that Marie teaches. I don't need to read Marie's book. I've got it all down. Right. And then I kind of caught myself doing that. Was like, wait a second. Why would you be opposed to taking the time to read something, even if you already know it, Lisa? Surely there would be another message in there, something that maybe you've forgotten, a different take on the same information. Surely you can still learn something from it. So I caught myself and I caught myself out. And so I actually started to read the book. And guess what? In the very first chapter, Marie lays it all out on the line, and she brings this up specifically and says, essentially, if you're going to make excuses for why you shouldn't have to read this book, then the book isn't for you, right? If you're going to catch yourself making excuses that you already know this or whatever, maybe you should stop and ask yourself somewhere in there, why do I feel the need to do that? Do I feel like I really 100% know all of this? Or is there some way for me to learn some more? Is there maybe something that I could learn that's new that I hadn't thought of, even just a different take on the same thing? Perhaps I know all the theory, but I actually am not implementing it. It's staying as theory. And, knowledge is power and all of that. But if you're not going to actually implement it, you can't expect to see any kind of change whatsoever. And so when I read that, I literally put the book down and laughed out loud because I was like, that was me. I went and did that. I went and did that, even though this is one of the things that I preach all the time. And there I was, not practicing what I preach, right? And so, sure enough, going in to read more of Marie's book and starting to go, yeah, this is all the same stuff that I have always been looking at and growing with, but it's being said from somebody else's perspective. There's little nuances, there's little things, little reminders, things that I had forgotten about, right? And so I'm going to ask you to do the same sort of thing. When you catch yourself, or if you catch yourself saying, yeah, I'm getting so frustrated, all these people telling me to meditate or whatnot, turn that around as a great way of dealing with your anxiety. Use this as an opportunity to actually get to know yourself a little bit better. Why is it that you have all of this information about meditation, for example, coming your way? Why is it irritating you, first of all? Second of all, are you actually watching or listening? Are you trying any meditations? If you already meditate, are you trying some other meditations perhaps? There's always a reason for everything that's popping up in your feed and everything that's coming up around you and whatnot. It's always an opportunity here. So if you're noticing that there's lots in your feed that's talking about trying to keep your business going or start a business at this time or dealing with your anxiety or ways to, cut out the stress or all these different things, then really start looking at what your reaction is to it, because that will really give you a really great idea of what's happening on the inside with you. Because chances are your reluctance or your resistance to watch or listen or try or whatever it is that's being offered to you, it might have more to do with fear. It might have more to do with, well, what if I do these things and I still have anxiety or I still have fear or I still, feel like I'm failing at life or whatever it is, right? That's a really significant thought to have, and to have those types of questions. Of course, you're going to be less likely to go and try new things, or less likely to actually put theory into practice and actually start implementing things in your life. Because if you don't implement it, then there's no reason that you would fail. If you do try to implement it and it doesn't go according to plan, then you're going to feel like you have failed, right? So there's a reason why some of these offers for help might actually be increasing some of your anxiety on the back end without you realizing why. And I always like to say that awareness, bringing something into your consciousness, is like 3/4 of the battle. Oh, my friend Melissa is on saying great advice as always. Thank you, love. So, I really, really, really believe that once you have become aware of something, whether it's aware of what you're thinking or what you're doing, how you're behaving towards something, whatever it is, as soon as you've got that awareness that's come into place, you've brought it into your consciousness. And now your conscious mind is going to look at it from a completely different angle than what you've been looking at it in your unconscious, perhaps for years. And it's going to be virtually impossible for you to continue on allowing yourself to do it. It's just what happens. It's like Mother Nature. It's like as soon as you realize there's a storm brewing, you start to figure out how you can be prepared for the storm, right? Dampen it down, right? And it's the same sort of thing with this. Once you realize, hey, you know what? I keep putting things off. I keep not reading those books or not watching those videos or not trying these things out that all these people are, putting in my path for me to see. And the reason why I am avoiding doing them is because X, Y, and Z, right? I believe that I already know it all already. Okay, well, is there anything that I could maybe, gain from watching it again or listening or reading again? Do I have anything to lose really by doing any of those things? Right? Again, is it possible that I could actually benefit from giving this a try? Is it possible that I could actually benefit so much I might be able to help others in a similar fashion because of doing this? So it spawns a whole lot of other questions that end up popping up that make your awareness so much so bright, it's almost blinding. And it's impossible for you to not catch yourself doing it again and again and again. And every time you do it, you're like, oh my God, I've just done it again. Oh my gosh. And your whole world opens up so that you become aware of yourself and your behaviors on a level that you've never experienced before. And I know that for some people that might seem like that's incredibly scary and brings huge anxiety, but I'm telling you, it doesn't. It actually brings a huge sense of empowerment, right? Because I was there just like you, and I'm speaking from experience. Allow yourself to become aware of what it is that you're doing, what you're saying to yourself, how you're reacting to things, and then ask some poignant questions. Ask why. What do you have to lose? What could you possibly gain? Right? Are you safe if you try this meditation? Are you safe if you read this book again? Are you safe if you watch these videos? Right? Have you really lost anything if you do any of that stuff? Right? The gains outweigh the risk that you would have involved. I hope that was helpful. Please head on over to my IGTV. I've got literally 13, 14 videos there, all giving you different coping with anxiety tips that I would love for you to check out. If you're watching this on Facebook, then just check out my page. I've got all my videos there, and same with YouTube. Thank you so much. Bless.